All right, everything ready to go on the planter, swapped over to corn?
I believe so. Y'all swapped the plates and we just greased it up. Other than that, I believe it's been ready to roll.
All right, let me go over here and grab my corn seed. There we go. It's all the corn planting we're going to do this year. Now, first things first, we got to get our sweet corn planted first. So we'll get that dropped in the ground and bring you back when we load up with our real corn seed. And it looked like somebody left the water on last night on our water fill station.
Yeah, that was my accident again.
So what address should I have them? Should I send the water bill to?
Gibson Well.
All right, we successfully got our 24 rows of sweet corn planted yesterday, so we're ready to load up for real this time. Starting off with our toughest farm, got some DeKalb 5982. 109-day corn, supposed to be real good on tough ground. I think it's a fixed ear variety. And then we've also got our refuge corn we're going to be putting in there. Now, they don't have a refuge that matches up exactly with the maturity on 5982, just like most companies are. We're supposed to plant a refuge. We get randomly checked, and then if we don't plant a refuge, you know, we lose the license to buy a seed if we don't plant the refuge. But the manufacturers don't offer very many refuge varieties because, face it, a lot of people don't plant a refuge. Just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? But anyway, 6593 is going to be our refuge corn. So Andy, we're going to put this in on 3 of the rows, and then our regular corn we're going to put in on the rest of the rows. We're going to start off by putting a bag in each. Then I mix in my inoculant. Then we'll add more on top of it. All right, if you've been watching us planting the last several years, this right here is no stranger to you. This is a product I highly recommend. This product is Micronoc seed inoculant, soil health. Anyway, it's got a bunch of different bacteria. It's a biological. The big one I think that is important is the azotobacter, which are free living bacteria in the soil that will take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it over to plant available nitrogen. So it will definitely increase the nitrogen availability to your corn crop. And it's also got mycorrhiza fungi in there, which I think is a big benefit for us. And before I started using this on 100% of my corn acres, we tested this for 4 straight years in scientific replicated plots. And this product, over the course of 4 years, and I forget how many different replications, a bunch. The Micronoc treated plots out yielded the non-treated plots by an average of about 9 bushels per acre, and they won over 75% of the replications that we did. So for us, it's been extremely consistent. Now, your environment, your soils, your farming practices, your mileage may differ. You may see bigger benefits, but you also might not see as many benefits. But I highly suggest it's something you at least take a look at and try in your own plots under your own conditions. And the thing is, most biological products are pretty dang expensive, anywhere from $15 to $25 an acre. This right here, I think, cost me around $4.60 per acre. One 10-pound pail will treat 50 acres worth of seed. So they also make this in a liquid form. If you've got in-furrow capabilities on your planter, they make this in a liquid form, which makes application a whole lot easier than what we're doing it. But as it is, we're just mixing this in with the dry seed. It coats the seed and gets into the soil that way. But you know, as with everything that we recommend, you know, we're not sponsored by Sono Ag, which is a maker of Micronoc. We don't get any free product. We don't even get any discounted product. We pay full price just like everybody else does, but it's giving us really big yield benefits. And I'm not saying that you need to use it, but I highly suggest you at least take a look at it, test it out under your own conditions, and you know, there's a very good chance it could do the same thing for y'all that it does us. You can find out more about it at www.sonoagfertilizer.com. They got other soil health products on there too. Great company to work with. Been doing business with them for quite a few years and really been pleased with their product and their service. So anyway, to mix it up, I take my highly scientific calibrated measuring device, my hand, big old handful, dump it in there. Then we'll just go in here and mix it up real good. You can put it on top, and as you're planting, it will sift through and coat the seeds, but I want that very first seed that I'm planting, I want it to be coated with micronoc. That way we don't lose any kind of yield. But anyway, with the seed that we're putting in, this should cover right around 80 acres, so we're going to put in about 1.5 pails of micronoc across all 12 rows here. All right, last thing we got to do before we go stick some seed in the ground, we got to load all of our prescriptions, variable rate prescriptions here on the monitor. All right, import prescriptions, seeding. All righty, that should be it. All right, what do y'all say we get this started? That's far enough. Let's get down and verify all our settings are correct. I nailed it on the soybeans. What do y'all think about the corn? All right, these burn down strips sure make it easy hunting for seed. There's the first one right there. That's about 1 3/4 inches. Man, this furrow force does a fantastic job of closing up the seed trench. All right, second one. Yeah, I think I need to lower my depth another notch. All right, because we got two different varieties in here, and one of them's got a little bit smaller seed and seed shape. It's going to fall down in the trench a little bit more. So let's check it, because those refuge rows might need to have a little bit different depth setting, because they either don't fall as far down into the trench or they fall a little bit farther. And we want uniform depth, uniform emergence. Yeah, okay, I know you can't see it, but yeah, this refuge seed a little bit smaller. It definitely fell a little bit deeper down in the trench, so I think we're going to leave that the same. But the bigger seeded main variety we're planting, I'm going to lower it just a little bit. Plant another strip. Let's check it again. Kelly's getting in front of me, burned down. Spraying this spray paraquat. No need for residuals when you got this amount of biomass on the ground. We'll wait and save our residuals for post-emerge application. All right, let's see if we can find some seed here. All right, there we go, right there. Yep, that is the perfect depth right there. Right there, my knuckles, right at 2 inches. All right, I think everything is dialed in. Let's get some acres in the ground. We got some catching up to do. All right, so Andy out there spreading that fertilizer. and I already miss our buggy. That's kind of a janky looking buggy compared to ours. But there's one big difference between that one and ours. That one's in running condition and ours isn't. I know some of y'all probably are saying, well, didn't he just get done spreading fertilizer over all your ground? And he just got done spreading what little DAP we had to put out, and then all of our potash. So what he's putting out now is nitrogen in front of the corn. And when you're planting green like we are, early season nitrogen management is absolutely critical so you don't hurt corn yield. Now you see we got a lot of green biomass out there that's got to decompose, and what microbes need to decompose all that residue right there is nitrogen. And the microbes in the soil that do all the decomposing, they will always get first priority on available nitrogen in the soil as a food source. They will actually rob it from the corn. So very early season, corn doesn't need very much nitrogen, but a lot of yield is set early season, so we want to make sure that it's got enough. Plus we want to make sure the microbes have got enough nitrogen to decompose all this residue, so then he can start returning nutrients back to the soil. So what Andy's putting out is 75 pounds of nitrogen, and then 15 pounds per acre of sulfur using urea and ammonium sulfate. Now we've already got a little bit of nitrogen that's available from the chicken litter that we applied, plus we got a decent amount of sulfur, so that's why we're only putting out 15 pounds of sulfur rather than more, because we're getting quite a bit from the chicken litter. But that nitrogen is enough to get the corn off to a good start, plus feed the microbes and breaking all this residue down. And then we need to make sure that we come back by V5 and apply the rest of our nitrogen for the corn crop. If you do it that way, you shouldn't have, you know, any kind of nitrogen penalty to pay on the corn crop. There'll be plenty of nitrogen to decompose all this, plus feed your corn crop until some of the nutrients start becoming available from all this residue you see out here. Well, we're a good ways in today. I gotta say, everything's rolling along pretty dang smoothly. Actually, kind of surprising and pretty refreshing for a change. We only got one small electrical problem, whereas my furrow force on number 10 is not reading for whatever reason. I've tried swapping modules, wiring harnesses, replaced row unit harness, replaced the SRM. It looks like it's functioning properly. It's closing the trench, building up pressure, but for whatever reason it's not reading on the screen. So I got to call into tech. Maybe we'll hear something back, but it's not stopping us from planting. It's still doing a good job, so we're rolling on. And after the last 2 weeks, we're actually planting into what, well, I believe is some really, really good conditions. Not too wet, not too dry. Even though this cover crop's pulling a lot of water out, in a few more days it'll start to get a little dry. But right now it's planting perfectly. Air temperature's warm, soil temperature sitting on 65 degrees according to my monitor. Got a pretty good forecast, you know, with warm temperatures for the next 4 to 5 days. Think we might have some rain coming in early next week, which is, I'd love to be done planting corn by then. I don't know if we'll be able to make it happen. We sure going to try. I know we've seen some really strange things happen on our farm, but there's really no reason that this corn shouldn't come up out of the ground blowing and going. Yeah, watch me say that here in about a week and a half. I'll be replanting all my corn. That's kind of how my luck goes. But we're planting it a little bit later than what we wanted, but ultimately we're planting into some really great conditions to get this corn off to a good quick start. I don't know if you can see those raindrops on the windshield, but yeah, I don't know where that come from. To my knowledge, there wasn't any predicted rain at all today, but looking at radar here, there's some kind of light rain moving through the area. It's going to take quite a bit of that to knock us out, but I'd rather the sun be shining. We got about 15 more acres left on this farm, and we'll see what the weather looks like. We should be just about out of seed right when we get done with this farm, because it's going to be time to swap varieties. So we'll see what the radar looks like here in a little bit when I get done with this farm. Well, he just got an alarm for out of seed on row unit number 1, and all we got is just to finish up this corner here. Well, yeah, it's definitely out, mainly because my little seed cup here caught a lot of the seed. That's about enough to get done. That's definitely enough to get done. Yeah, I think we got enough to get done here. All right, first farm is done and off to the races. It's starting to get a little nasty out here, but we are not quite rained out yet, but we are out of seed and we're going to load up with just a little bit more. Now, Kelly's gotten about 20 acres on the next farm already sprayed, and I definitely want to get that done in case we do get rained out overnight. I don't want that cover crop dying without it being planted, otherwise it takes forever to dry up. So we definitely going to try and get it planted, and we're just going to put in just enough seed to get that done, because if we have to get rained out for an extended period of time, if I got the micronoc mixed in there, you know, it's got live organisms, it could die before it gets in the soil. So we're just going to do just enough seed to get done today and see what tomorrow brings. So we're swapping varieties. We're keeping 6593 as a refuge on rows 3, 6, and 9, but next variety is 6595. We planted this on some tough ground last year. Really happy with it and going to go back with it again. So for 20 acres, I should just have to put about a half of a bag of seed in each hopper, and that should be enough to get her done. Well, day 1 corn planting's in the books, and it's been pretty dang successful. Got a little bit of a late start because we had to get everything loaded up and you know, fertilizer buggy situated and all that kind of stuff. But we got perhaps some of our most difficult to plant ground planted today was small, rough fields and everything. But we've had a dang good day. We've done right at 95 acres today, so I'm pretty happy. Now I'll just hope that this rain and stuff holds off tonight to where we can get back going again tomorrow morning. So we're about 20% done with corn planting after day 1. Not bad. Well, y'all take a quick nap. We'll see what the weather looks like in the morning. All right, back for another day. Just gotta let Kelly and Andy get out in front of me a little bit. And there goes Andy with his little meat buggy. That thing looks so silly. But it's getting the job done, whereas mine sure ain't. All right, hoping for a big day today. Got an earlier start than yesterday, and that tacky ground from last night's dried up a little bit. I'm setting a goal today of about 115 acres. So for that to happen, I gotta get my mom's house done, Ellington done, and then McClary home place in Sharp done. So we're going to have to swap farms, what, 4 times? We'll have to change seed varieties once. Pretty tall order for today. But as long as everything runs smoothly, it ought to be doable. I don't know what it is about planting corn, but planting corn is probably my favorite thing to plant. For whatever reason, soybeans just ain't very much fun to plant. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't have to be quite as exact with soybeans, you know, with rows and all that kind of stuff. And then cotton is always, when I'm planting cotton, it's always stressful. Am I planting at the right time? Is the weather going to be right? Is it going to come up? And then we're planting into, you know, the most biomass of cover crops, so having to watch the planter, making sure nothing's getting wrapped up, make sure I'm getting seed in the ground. So it can be pretty stressful, but corn planting, as long as everything's running smooth, is actually just very relaxing. We're just cruising on 5 miles an hour, following our burn down strips, and it's just it's a pretty enjoyable experience for me. But if everything goes according to plan, we're going to get done with this in a hurry, and then we will be swapping over immediately to cotton, because looks like we got some warm temperatures in the forecast. We do have rain coming in next week, but I don't think we're going to get done with corn before that rain hits. So as long as the forecast stays true with warm temperatures, you know, after it dries back up, I'm gonna try and hit our goal of getting some cotton planted early this year, or early for us anyway, and just trying to get that cotton crop off to an early start, get it matured out early. That way we can get done with harvest earlier, and we can get our wheat planted earlier, which will lead to higher yields on our wheat, hopefully. So there's a whole lot of ducks got to line up in a row for that to happen. I actually heard a report, one of my buddies stopped by the shop this morning and said he planted 200 acres of cotton yesterday, which, you know, the soil temperature is a little cool for cotton planting right now, but the air temperature is up there and going to stay up there, and rain is, you know, a good 3 days away. So, you know, if I was caught up with everything on planting, I'd probably be tempted to plant a little cotton myself too. It's gonna be interesting to see how it does this year. Well, so much for an easy, trouble-filled day.
So I've determined that it is coming from one of these 5 hoses right here. Right in this area is where all the oil was coming from. Nothing over there that splashed. So it's either this one, this one, this one, or this one. Can't really tell because it's still dripping, but cleaned it up as best I can. But look,
Fire it up and see where it's coming from.
spray at this point.